So I'm a fourth year medical student and I've been at Imperial for a while now. It all started really 5 years ago when I went to the MMI. That was really the first proper time I'd been inside the building. Now I went to the open day and I'd seen the campus several times for other reasons, but the first real time I went into, for example, one of the halls was for the MMI, and it's a really interesting thing. Today I want to talk a little bit about that experience, go into details about what Imperial want in candidates, and give you some tips on how to do well on their MMI. So if that sounds like a good idea to you, let's get straight into the video. Right, so Imperial, for those of you who don't know, is located in South Kensington with several other campuses in St Mary's, Hammersmith, Charing Cross, etc. It's a university primarily for STEM subjects, and for medicine it is quite widely known across the UK and internationally as well. But what exactly do they look for in the MMI? Well, once you've got to this stage, you'll be glad to know Imperial take quite a high number of students from the MMI pool to giving them an actual place at Imperial College. It's quite good that you've got to the MMI stage because it means they've liked you quite a bit. Now, the way they run the MMI is, at least when I did it, they do about 8 or 7 stations, and they give this list normally on the Imperial website, so you can prepare for it. There's nothing to catch you out on here. There are no nasty surprises here. They will test you on everything that comes up on that website. So I'll put the list on the screen so you can have a look. But it runs typically like any other MMI. But there are a few selling points that make Imperial unique that you should prepare for. Number one is you should know that Imperial like research, and they like it a lot. So it is quite useful to have a read about their research, some of the work that Imperial have done, and come to the MMI prepared with some anecdotes, maybe about why you want to pursue research, or even if you don't, talk a little bit about why research is so important to medicine and why Imperial takes such pride in it. Because they do. They like their research a lot. We do a research project in year 2 for 3 months. We have a year 4 BSc that we run. We have various opportunities, things like a PhD with access to plenty of labs on site at South Kensington. So they really like research, and it's important that you understand and appreciate it. Number 2 is also to know that South Kensington is the main campus. So there are several campuses in London. The Medic campus is in Charing Cross primarily, and after year 1 you will spend most of your time at Charing Cross. But for most other degrees, South Kensington is the main campus. So you should know that, and they might ask you about whether you can see yourself living in London. It's a valid question. You need to understand that it's very expensive, but it is great for things like sightseeing, travel, and it is just a really great place to be. There's a lot of stuff to do in South Kensington. There's a lot of places to see. You've got the Science Museum around the corner. You've got the Natural History Museum around the corner. So there's a huge number of things that are in the area, and you should focus on that when they ask you why you want to come to Imperial, because South Kensington is one of the main selling points of Imperial College. Number 3 is that you should know the extracurricular program is amongst the biggest in the country. So Imperial run around 250 clubs and societies, and you can find all of these on the website. Now you should be familiar with these, and you should actually come to the interview with a few clubs and societies that you want to pursue. Now these don't have to be true. You're not signing a binding contract saying that if you get a place you are going to pursue these clubs, but just come with a few that you might be interested in trying out, so that when they ask you about it, you're not looking like you've not done any research on it at all, because the extracurricular program Imperial is also one of the biggest selling points there. So whether it's a magic society, hockey, drama, whatever you want to do, come prepared with a few societies that maybe you've had some experience in before at school, or you've not, and you want to try something new. I know I said the Magic Society, I tried it out, it wasn't for me, but hey, it's just about trying things out and giving things a shout. So that is what you need to do for the extracurricular side. Now in terms of the actual answers at the MMI, Imperial really like their candidates to be confident. So the worst thing you can do at Imperial is to come in, be nervous, jittery, and all over the place. Be confident, have a smile on your face, and appreciate that Imperial are quite a talkative university. So the people that they invite are going to be nurses, doctors, things like faculty. They're also a station with students who ask questions, so make sure that you are confident in the interview. The best thing they like is a candidate who's talkative, who will respond to questions, bounce things off the interviewer. Treat it like a conversation, not an interview. That is the worst thing you can do. So treat it more like you're having a conversation with a person for 5 minutes and then you're moving on to someone else. So that's really important. Now finally, what I want to talk about is that Imperial will test you on science. Now whether this is from something you've mentioned in your section 3 BMAT essay, whether it is something you mentioned on the personal statement, or whether it's a book you've read, they will test you on science. So you should brush up on everything in your application science related. So whether you've mentioned something in your BMAT section 3 essay, whether, go back to that, think about what you wrote about and do some revision on that. Whether it's something you mentioned in the personal statement. So if you mentioned a scientific thing, whether it's a charity you volunteered at, which is Cancer UK, research cancer, whether you volunteered at the BHF, research heart disease, whether you volunteered at a care home, research dementia. So you should be coming to the interview with a decent amount of scientific knowledge. Nothing complex. They don't require you to come in being an expert, even a university level knowledge, but something that is slightly more than A level. So look at the NHS website, WebMD, Wikipedia. Even though it's not a great source, it does have some decent information on there. Go and have a look at some of these videos. Khan Academy run really good videos for this. Osmosis do really good videos for this. So any topic that you've mentioned in the application, go and do some research, because they do bring in lecturers and doctors who will know a lot about these topics. So the worst thing you can do is sit there either not having anything in the tank or lying about a topic. So make sure you're coming with decent scientific knowledge. And if you don't know something, you're not going to be penalised for saying, so that's something I didn't know about, or I've not come across that, or I'm not aware of that, but I will go home, do some research on that and enlighten myself a bit more. That's the best answer you can give to that. They're not expecting you to know everything. So if you say something that you genuinely don't know, the best thing to do is just accept it and say you don't know it, but you will do research on it later. And that's just a little tip that I have for you, because that happened to me. I didn't know something, and I just told them flat up, you know what, I don't know this, I've not heard about this, or I've not come across this in my research, but I will go home, I'll do some work on this, I'll read up about it, so I can, enlighten myself a bit. And that worked fine. I got the place, and there were no problems. But yeah, that's everything that Imperial specific you should know, but there are a bunch of other things that you should be doing, just generally researching for the MMI and preparing. I've done a few other videos on this, so you can have a look at that, but this was a very short, bite-sized video on what to do for the Imperial MMI. Hopefully it was helpful. If it was, subscribe, like, share, whatever. Leave some comments down below, or get in contact with my Instagram if you want some other particular videos. Aside from that though, I will see you all in the next video. See you in a bit.